All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to be getting right into it, talking about why this is one of the best starter builds out there. Roast me in the comments as you want, but you ever been playing an activity and then you wonder, why is everybody using arc? Almost everybody is using arc. Well, arc does not care about anything. Arc don't care about anything. So what do I mean by that? So we all know that the Titan has its ballistic, or what's it called? The bolt charge. Storm's Keep. Storm's Keep changed the game for Titans. It's almost a staple, right? And I think the aspects need one more aspect slot so we can open up these builds more, but that's a whole nother thing. So Storm Keeps, big in the Titan community, works good with everything, especially with the crest of Alpha Lupe. Alpha Lupe, I think that's how you call it. And when you cast your barricade, you get healing, which is very important in 400 content and above. And it releases a pulse, heals your teammates, grants you bolt charge with Storm's Keep. And then you have Outbreak Perfected. If you have everything going for it, you got the rewind rounds, you have the parasitism, it's a kinetic weapon, it's featured, almost infinite ammo, got the disease vector, all that jazz. Everything going for it, and a bag of chips. Everything. And then you have the infamous tech set armor, which tech set says you deal significantly increased kinetic damage to combatant shields, overshields, vehicles, constructs, stasis crystals, everything. And then it releases a disoriented blow if you have 4 pieces on. It's a whole big thing. Disorients enemies, lightning strikes, pulse healing, the whole kit and caboodle. And then we'll slight talk about warlocks. You have the electric slide, it does a whole lot of damage. I want to say it jolts. I think that it jolts. Correct me in the comments below if you don't think so. Then you have the hunters, right? The hunters with the swirly stick. They jump in the air. They release the jolting balls from their stick. It shocks everything. Ascension. So it got the ascension going, and you can run this same setup on all 3 characters. All 3 of them. Outbreak Perfect is a craftable weapon. This drops from everything, and this drops from everything. These 2 things drop all the time. Then you have Jolt with jolting feedback, or your grenade if you build into that, so you can stun overloads. And then you have the Unstoppable Sniper, and then you have the Anti-Barrier, and then you have the tech set that goes with destroying shields for match game, because match game is a big old issue, and anti-barrier champions are a really big problem. But this build has sustainability, it has health regeneration, it has damaging potential, and then you have the Superman Thunder Crash fist that annihilates an area if enemies are getting on your nerves. It just has everything going for it. So the whole mishmash of what this thing has going on did not correlate well with what featured weapons we have going on, right? Anybody else feel that way? Is that these things didn't really line up with how the content's being presented? You're getting a lot of Vex Harpies, you're getting a lot of um, Minotaurs with purple shields that are in conjunction with Cabals and red shields, and it just makes you want to go prismatic, but then you lose out on bolt charge, which we really ain't gonna do. So we go back to Outbreak Perfected with tech set. So this build overall is just good for no reason, right? So you can build into it if you want to. Again, I have a bunch of stuff that's empty, but even butt naked, this build is fantastic. It's just, it does too much. It does too much. I'm getting my super back. I'm getting health regen. I'm killing enemies, stunning champions, everything. So you're going to be seeing in the background gameplay that this is going to be the build that you want to start with. This is what you're going to want to build out to. And it's going to make Grandmasters easier, because for some reason For some reason, grandmasters are easier than masters. Don't know why. So right now we're going to go over to some gameplay. We're going to go into a pinnacle operation. It's going to be not a pinnacle operation. We're going to a fire team operation. And then you're just going to see it happen in the background. I'm going to take myself off the screen so that you can watch this in its totality, but I'm going to be talking over the video if you guys want to see that. So again, this is where you're going to start. Tier 3, Tier 4, Tier 2, don't matter. Tech set, Crest of Alphalupe, Arc, all this. This is your starting point. This is your build, because you're going to get tech set stuff. All right, I know I'm lingering on, but you're going to get tech set stuff. You can get more tech set stuff. But when you put a tech set inside of a tech set, it's only going to cost Glimmer. It's only going to cost Glimmer. You're not going to be doing no enhancement cores. That's another big plus to this. So, all right, let's get into the gameplay. All right, so we are going into a Grandmaster, and this is going to be completely match made. It's going to be the equipment lock, all that jazz. So if you get in there with a competent team and you guys are actually running okay builds, or not, I wouldn't say okay. If you guys are running real builds, that means you're kitted out, you have your mods on, you have your exotic designated to what you're going to do, right? I'm running this build completely with no optimized mods, just so you could see, right? It's going to take a whole team effort to do a Grandmaster. For the most part, Grandmaster content, one person isn't going to carry a team. You may be the GOAT out there, but that doesn't equate to 90% of us that play Destiny. And you'd have to understand that if there's one weak link in the chain, then the whole chain gets broken. So when I go in here and I use my bolt charge, so I'm going to be using the rally barricade, giving my outbreak perfected, the increased reload speed, giving myself those thunderous bolt charges of lightning, just like Thunderlord. One of my teammates is actually running Thunderlord. I don't know these guys, but their rank speaks for itself, in my opinion. They are 9s, so I'm going to assume that they have competent builds together. It's going to tell me whether I am that weak link in the chain. So I want to say that there's 2 Warlocks with me, and one of them is running a solar build, the other one's running a arc build. Now we know solar ain't that good, especially for the hunters, but it's not all that good. But we are seeing a Warlock run arc, which it isn't hinted at in the seasonal artifact. It's got no skin in the game for why people should be using it. It's just that it's as good as it was. It's as good as Void was when it first came out. It's almost as good as Stasis was when it first came out. A lot of these things people would say are busted, but it's right where it should be for the activities that Bungie want us to do. Now, again, with no real mods and no real direction for this build going in one way or the next, how I would like to have had it was that my melees give me back my super energy. My super energy is sitting at about, not now, but I wanted it sitting at 100 minimum, and then I'd have a decent amount of class ability to keep getting back that bolt charge. And then I would have something feeding into whenever I pick up an overpower, I'd get an increase in melee stats, so just so I can get a quicker melee recharge, because I want my melee to feed into my super, because that's the type of playstyle that I wanted to go for here. But all in all, it's not a bad starter build. That's what I want to keep making that emphasis on, is that this is something that you can build around. You don't have to go Thunder Crash. You can go with I don't know if it's called Thunder Slam or whatever. But the one that's the roaming super, you can go with that because you're not using the fallen the fallen caress, Curus of the Falling Star. Had the words all mixed up, all backwards. And without having Curus of the Falling Star, you're not really relying on your super damage to do the super damage thing. You know, it's gonna do damage, but it's not gonna do Caress of the Falling Star type of damage. So the world is your oyster when it comes to this starter build, and you're going to have something for every champion, and you're going to end up seeing the weapons besides the outbreak perfect. You're going to be seeing the other two weapons that you're able to feed into those, and you're going to be able to reliably get those in the portal before they start adding in new stuff. Right now, it's kind of a bad environment for the portal stuff. There's not really a lot of new weapons, and I think again one of the issues is that there's some disconnect. I want to say that Bungie, the playtesters or whatever have you, those people at Bungie are playing a game that's 6 months out, 7 months out. They're playing a whole different game than we're playing. So they have access to the weapons that they think are going to be broken. They have access to the abilities that are going to get tweaked and changed. But we don't have all that. What we have now is the life game. And the rest of the changes are coming down the pipeline. And again, coming down the pipeline, we have some things we're going to change, some tweaks, some other things that we're going to do. There's a lot of it's about to happen, but there's not enough happening type of deal. And you can see with this build, right? This build is in the now, and this build can only get better. As far as I know, it can only get better as time goes on because there doesn't seem to be any necessity to nerf Arc. That makes sense. There's no real reason that Arc should get touched. It's like used to be one of the least played classes out there, but now one of the least played classes is probably Solar because of how bad its overall kit is. It's got no DR, it's got no resistance when you're surrounded, it's got no flame armor, it doesn't have its thing. It's supposed to have cure and restoration, but we already know that got nerfed. So with the whole Arc kit, most Arc players are going to automatically build into when you're surrounded by combatants, you're going to be taking less damage resist. And then if you have melee resist mods on, you have sniper mods on, whether you have whatever elemental mod resist you have on, that's just adding to it. So you're with the hunters, you can also go with, I want to say, a good stasis build is good for hunters too because they get in the same amount of DR with the frost armor. They're about as tanky as Titans are with the Arc class because you're gonna have knockout, and then with knockout you're gonna get your health regeneration back. And with combination blow, you get your health regeneration back, and then warlocks have healing rift with healing duration back. So the question becomes is why am I even playing any other class besides Arc? Because the ones that they want you to build into don't really have any good synergy with the artifact, with the weapons that they want us to use versus the weapons that we want to use. So if we want to use a warlock with barrel dyad, which in my opinion, everybody wants to use. Barrel Dyad's good. Don't know what they fixed. Don't know what they changed, but it's a very good submachine gun. The dungeon, or I think it's the dungeon, the event or activity that the Barrel Dyad, the exotic quest mission that the Barrel Dyad was supposed to get is intrinsics and stuff from just aren't in the game. So for a lot of people who got it that don't have the intrinsics, kind of stuck with whatever they have. Those who have it probably use it heavily, and there's just some people who just don't got it at all, right? And it leaves a portion of those weapons that you were able to get out of the realm of weapons that you could use in combination with other stuff. Also, Mint Retrograde is just really too good. It's just a really good pulse rifle, and it's tweaked enough in PvP to where you're not gonna see anybody using Mint Retrograde in PvP. It hits like a wet noodle. Same with Rocket Sidearms. You're not seeing anybody going in there with Return to Memory just slaying out, because that's just not what those guns were built for. A PvP, PvE sandbox type of disconnect from that, and as it should be, because if everyone went in with Mint Retrogrades, we'd just be having the laser wars all over again. We just have Mint Retrogrades going in there left and right, and everybody would just use the old same old same old. I haven't seen many people in Crucible just using Outbreak Perfected. I think people kind of use whatever they want to use in Crucible, but again, we have this disconnect to where they probably see the Iron Banner weapons, they see the Trials of Osiris weapons, they see the raid weapons. I would like a good featured stasis auto rifle, and if you know, you get that from the raid. Have I played the raid? No. So, and then some people want, well, I want to use whatever I want to use. I want to get the icebreaker once per character. That you can go and farm for that and try to get the icebreaker. People don't want to take chance with old content. They kind of just want that stuff from the old content because it's already more than likely been power crept by other types of content. You know what I mean? So we're gatekeeping for no reason, but Bungie's probably already played their dungeon layer of these activities to get these farmable weapons and intrinsics and catalysts, and we're just sitting here we're just sitting on our thumbs, just waiting for the next thing to happen. Because if you see any twid or twab or Bungie post that they got going on, it always says Ash and Iron. It always says Renegades. It always says something later, not something that's happening now. And I don't think anybody's really worried about the now. But as you can see, I haven't died yet using this build. It again is a Grandmaster. I'm using Arc, which isn't featured. I am running the Unstoppable Sniper. I'm running the Anti-Barrier on the Outbreak Perfected. And then if I did have any Overload champions, I would jolt them with either Bolt Charge, which I think jolts, or I would hit them with the Pulse Grenade, which jolts, or I would hit them with my heavy weapon, which also jolts. So it just covers all the avenues on playing an activity. And if you go in there with a good team, you're going to do well. Not everyone's going to be at the top, but someone's going to be able to do something. So hopefully this video helped you guys out on seeing what a starter build should look like. So like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.